Hi, welcome to my YouTube video channel. Today we're going to talk about a topic that I've talked over Twitter Space, which is what do you need to become a startup founder? So there's a lot of elements, a lot of talent, a lot of experience that you might need to think of when you're starting your business, but we kind of boiled it down to 3 points. So I'm going to explain these 3 points through this video. During the discussion in Twitter Space, there are a lot of discussions, a lot of elements, factors, talents, experiences, a lot of luck involved in being successful as a startup founder. But I thought personally that these 3 points were really important. So the 3 points are 1, communication, 2, action, and 3, grit. I'm going to explain why these 3 are important. As a bonus, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about a bit more on what you should do to prepare yourself to start a startup. So number 1, communication. Communication is essential, not just for business, but for daily life. You have to communicate to make friends, make a deal, anything. But in startups, it's especially important because you as a founder, you have no resource. You have just a business opportunity, an idea that you're thinking of, and that's it. You need to communicate your idea to a lot of people. You have to convince people to get on board, join your team, fund you, support you, help you to get things rolling. So especially for communications, it's more of a sell kind of communication. I've talked about that in a different video, so if you're interested, check out the link probably up here, see that video. So you have to sell, you have this idea, but you have to sell it to your investor. You have to sell it so that you can get people on board. You have to sell it to the engineers so they can understand what you're trying to build. So a lot of communication of trying to verbally or maybe visually explain what you're trying to do. Without people understanding what you're trying to do, what you're trying to achieve, there's no way that they can help you. So communication is really important. Going forward, starting off from the idea, now you have a sort of business, still communication is important. Let's say there's a discussion, as an investor, you would want somebody, a founder team that would communicate well, even if things are not going well. They don't want surprises, so they want during the meeting saying that this and this is going well, but we're kind of struggling here and we'd like to have some help on that. Or there's some risk involved in this area. Honest communication is a plus for investors because they can understand what will be coming, they won't be surprised, and maybe they can help out. So the worst scenario is oh, this failed and we're stuck and there's nothing more we can do. If it comes to that point, there's not much you can do, and investors they'll be surprised. There'll be a lot of trust lost within that communication. So building trust, you need to communicate well with your investors, with other stakeholders. So initially communicating your idea, your vision, but going forward, you need to communicate well with your stakeholders so you can get them involved and still continue to build that trust within them. So communication, number 1. Number 2 is action. As you have no resource, you have this sort of idea in your head, that's pretty much it. Without taking action, nothing's going to happen. You need to take action. You need to talk to people to get them involved. You need to write a plan so that you can get investment. You need to go to meetings and meetups to just meet people so that you can find somebody who can bring you more opportunities or resources. So often the case when you're doing something completely new, it's kind of hard to figure out the kind of correct path, the optional path of going forward. So they're going in and out all over the place a bit. You just need to meet a lot of people to kind of figure out who you should get involved in your team. So there'll be a lot of action required, just sitting in your room, sitting in your office space won't make things happen. You need to actively engage with people, with parties, to have people support you. So planning is important, documentation is important, all that is important, but action. Take action, build things, communicate. You have to do that to get the ball rolling. So number 2, action. And vast amount of action is necessary to get something off the ground. Lastly, number 3, grit. So things won't go as planned. That's just a given. As a startup, there will be so many failures. You'll be stuck. You thought, oh, what am I doing? Why should I have done that? You would question yourself over and over again. And people around you will be doing that. You would talk to your friends and say, why are you doing a startup? Why did you throw away your career? Why are you working on that? What's that? Is this going to be a business? There'll be a lot of questions. There'll be a lot of negativity against what you're trying to build. But still, you have to believe in yourself. Be confident. Even if you had failures, you have to pick yourself up and still go on. You have to communicate. You have to take actions. So you constantly need to go against these challenges, against this negativity. That requires a lot of motivation. And so whenever you're choosing a project, you have to have something that is true to your heart, something that will motivate you, something not just for money, but something that has a purpose, a personal purpose to you. Because without that, it will be very difficult to go over those hurdles, to go over those tough times. So grit, having something that has a purpose for you, is important, but also you need to be that person that can overcome troubles, overcome tough times. So if you're a person that's always giving up, you might need to question yourself, okay, am I ready? So to prepare yourself, do something small, something new, something small that's something new that you've never done before, and see if you can continue that. Reading a book every day or whatever that may be a bit challenging for you, and build that. You need to be confident that you can overcome those troubles. You need to believe that you need to establish that grit within you. So 3 points: communication, action, and grit. But the bonus point, what do you need? What kind of experience do you need outside of these 3 points? And of course, if you have finance background, if you have marketing background, if you have sales background, that's wonderful. If you're building some IT system like a SaaS, if you have an engineering background, you have programming, coding experience, that's great. But it's not that you have to have all of that to begin a business. That's impossible. You can't do everything. So when you need something, it's important that you can seek that sort of resource outside of you. So you can bring a person who has specialty in finance, or you can bring a guru in marketing. So you as a founder, you need to have a certain understanding of the industry, of that area of interest that you have, that you're building your startup on, but all the things that are lacking, the experience, the skills and all that, you can learn yourself, or you can bring on talent, people, collaborate with other companies or other organizations to make things happen. So it's not that you have to have everything. If you're kind of stuck with that kind of idea, forget about that. That day will never come. So for those who are thinking of starting a startup, don't get too stuck of, I'm not prepared, do I need this and that? Start taking action, small steps, laying out what you're going to do, writing it down, talking to people, talking to maybe angel investors, bouncing off your idea. Start taking action, because that's the most important part. And eventually it will develop, or it might be corrected. You might have adjustments. This doesn't seem to make sense. So I need to change this a bit. So it becomes a business. There's a lot of bouncing back and forth necessary. So don't get stuck in your head. Communicate. Don't worry too much of getting your ideas stolen, because it's more of the execution than the plan or the idea. The idea is worth, 5% or less than that of the whole value of your startup. And if there's anybody that will copy your business, you just need to prove that you're more passionate about your project. You are more faster. You have more grit. You will take more action. And I think that's the most important part of being a founder in a startup. Hope this video is useful for you. Thank you for watching it to the very end. I want this information to reach people who need it, so please give it a like, please share it, please subscribe to the channel, and suggest this to your friend. Great. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.